Hello, welcome to the final of my Khorne Berzerker painting guide. So far we've done the armor and the trim, so all we have left are some details and the weapons. And then the secret sauce. In my previous video I mentioned focusing on the bust area of the model in order to prioritize where to spend time. As such, for a lot of the details I'm just going to do a simple base coat and edge highlight. However, for the weapons, I consider those part of kind of the key character of the model. They're berserkers after all, so I'm going to go a little harder on them. And to get started, let's work on those weapons.
For the steel, I'm base coating with dark gray blue, then going over it with neutral gray, leaving the dark gray blue in the crevices. Then I'm doing select highlights with a 50-50 mix of neutral gray and blue white. I'm focusing on areas where the light would reflect brightly on the blade and corners. Finally, I do a further highlight of pure blue-white. For the teeth, I'm base coating with orange-red, then overbrushing with bright pale yellow. Then I go over the bright pale yellow with fluorescent orange for that super pop. I'm not sure what this part is called, but I'm going with casing. I'm base coating dark yellow-green, then layering up with yellow-green. Afterwards, I start mixing in some bright yellow-green, working up to pure bright yellow-green. I do the Khorne symbol the same way I did the armor trim, bright yellow ochre followed by bismuth yellow and a bright pale yellow highlight. The leather straps are mahogany, then layered with a 50-50 mix of mahogany and red gray, with the final highlight of pure gray. The little cable tube thingamajig is base coated black, then highlighted with a mix of Payne's gray and blue white.
Not Slaneshi, these guys work out way too much not to be showing some skin, unlike their more uptight brethren. For these areas, I'm using a simple but somewhat unusual skin recipe. Over a base coat of burnt red, I'm layering a mixture of burnt red and faded green, starting with a 50-50 mix, then adding in more faded green as I work up the highlights. For the final layers of highlights, I add in some pink. Burnt red and faded green might seem like a strange mixture, but the red and green partially neutralize each other, creating a warm, somewhat desaturated pinkish tone that I've come to really like. The pink pushes the mixture into a more human-looking skin tone. Now we get to one of my favorite miniature painting techniques, and my secret sauce for these miniatures, blacklining. This simple technique adds a lot of depth to your mini and really brings it together. In fact, the greatest feeling I get while painting is the satisfaction of smoothly blacklining a mini. I recommend using Contrast Black Legion, though Higgins calligraphy ink also works well. Yeah, it feels fantastic. It's as satisfying to me as coming is, as in having sex with a woman and coming. Just put that smooth black in all the crevices of your mini. It's so great as it immediately enhances the mini's contrast, separates out similarly painted parts, and hides errant brush strokes. Oh God, can you believe how much I'm in heaven? I am like getting the feeling of coming while painting. I'm getting the feeling of coming at home. I'm getting the feeling of coming at my local game store. When I paint during a workshop, I get the same feeling. So I am coming day and night. It's terrific, right? So I am in heaven now.
That is blacklining.
The bone is pretty simple. That said, I'm breaking my Pro Acryl streak and using Citadel's Skeleton Horde contrast. I use this as a wash over a base coat of Pro Acryl Bright Pale Yellow. Try to avoid coffee staining and excessive pooling. The next step is then going back and overbrushing with Bright Pale Yellow again. You can use this step to hide errors from your washing, like hosing yourself down with Axe body spray instead of showering. So, the plasma pistols were a little tricky to me. In 40K, plasma just screams OSL. However, these are brightly colored models that are meant to be out in a brightly lit field, which creates two problems. First, objects in brightly lit areas tend to get overpowered by the sun. For instance, if you were to take a flashlight outside on a bright sunny day, you'd probably have a hard time even telling if it was on. Second, you need dark to create light when it comes to painting. So when your model's already bright, it becomes harder to sell an OSL effect. I wound up painting the coils white and dry brushing white in the area immediately around the coils. I then glazed fluorescent orange over it. After that, I painted in white in the bottom part of the coils Then went over that with fluorescent yellow mixed with a little bit of fluorescent orange to try and counteract the fluorescent yellow's greenish tinge. To the final section. While not as orgasmic as blacklining, basing is still incredibly satisfying. And the best part of this old school style is how fast the bases can be done. Before priming the miniature, I had put down Mod Podge on the base followed by fine craft sand. Now all I'm doing is painting the base with a solid coat of Pro Acryl Black Green. This is followed by an overbrush of Pro Acryl Bright Green over the sand. Then I solidly rim the base with Bright Green 2, doing 2 or 3 coats on the rim. And here are the finished models. Not a quick process, but I think these guys are substantially nicer than a regular tabletop paint job. I am hoping to get 1,000 points of World Eaters painted for the Dallas Open next year, so expect further updates and guides as I get the rest of the army done. That said, stay tuned for my next video where I'll be venturing into the world of Trench Crusade.